In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
Hey, it's Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, now called Fort Liberty, but I'm not going to call it that. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's another episode of Yes, Say It, escaping from the legal matrix. That's right. Because why? You're in bondage. And what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about something I know that you're not going to want to hear, especially you law students and young lawyers, but we're going to talk about it anyway. And that is what you really are. You're saying, well, what am I? Well, I'm going to tell you what you are. In reality, lawyers are mercenaries. You are a legal merc. You get paid to go fight in the Roman Colosseum for the highest bidder. Now, you don't want to believe that. You don't want to accept that. You think that possibly you're a social justice warrior. Woohoo! And you're going to save the world. Well, here's the reality. So, according to the latest ABA study that is published annually, there are about 1.3 million lawyers in the United States today, give or take. So, that means there are those competing with you to do what? To go out into the legal profession, or as I call it, the legal matrix, and basically scour for business and collide. Because in reality, that's what lawyering is all about. It's about collisions, colliding. That's all it ever is, all it ever was, and it's all it's ever going to be. See, it's designed that way by the puppet masters. That's right. The great emperor, just like Nero and the rest of them 2,000 years ago, that fostered the games and the Colosseums and other sporting arenas just for their fun. And if it wasn't Nero, then it was Domitian. If it wasn't Domitian, it was somewhere along the line. Whenever they built the Roman Colosseums and all the gladiators. And that's what you are. But the difference is that you fight for the person that pays you the money either in cash or the American Excuse card or Mr. Visa or Senior MasterCard. Whoever shows up at the door and you close that deal. And the fact of the matter is, honestly, in my experience, in the fighting the legal matrix, lawyers don't even care about the truth. Oh, they say they do. They pontificate they do. They go out there waving in virtual signal every single day. But you want to know what? At the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. The client comes in, and they're like, I got a problem. I'm in pain. I can't stand the pain, and I need you to fix it. And so what do? Well, you're excited they're coming in. You feel like I'm all gladiated up. That's right. I'm a merc. I have all my weapons of war. All my fancy Latin words, I'm going to throw at them in the courtroom. All the things I'm going to type and the motions I'm going to file. Those are my weapons of war. That's right. Pay me, and I am your merc, your legal merc. And I don't care about the truth. Doesn't matter to me. Don't tell me. I don't care if you murdered somebody. I don't care if you robbed somebody. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. All I want to do is go in there and defend you, get paid, and move on to the next case. And I guess for most of you out there, that's like, well, that's what we're supposed to do. It's not our job to persecute them or to prosecute them. It's our job to defend them. It's up to the state to prove the case. And that's true. The state has the burden. No doubt about it. But you see, here's the whole thing. The legal profession, i.e. the legal matrix, again, starting with law schools and the judges and the lawyers and the clerks of court and everything else that comprises this insane legal matrix. Nobody really cares about the truth. They just care about getting paid. That's it. Truth be damned. Now think about this. What if we all had to release all of our text messages, all of our emails, all of our search histories on our web browsers going back at least 10 full years? And I mean everybody. Judges, lawyers, law students, professors, your staffs, everybody. Boy, we'd see some truth there now, wouldn't we? And see, this is what astonishes me about the legal matrix and the fact that we're all legal mercs. We go into a courtroom, and there it is. The Lady Justice standing up there. Justice is blind. Justice will be fair. No, it won't. It won't. Justice isn't always fair. There isn't always truth in the courtroom. Just think about all these criminal cases where you see people are exonerated for murder or rape now that all the DNA technology came out. And years ago, the prosecutors withheld what we call exculpatory evidence, which would tend to do what? To prove the innocence of the defendant. But they didn't care. It was just another notch in their gun. Another case that they won. Something to put on the resume as they tried to climb the ladder in their persecutorial world. Or in civil cases with the civil lawyers. They don't care about what the truth is. They don't care about acknowledging, yep, your exhibit's right, your witness is right. No, we're going to keep moving forward till we get a judgment, and we're going to move to collect on it and get our money. This is the whole cesspool and the whole cancer that's ongoing with lawyers in the legal profession today, because the legal matrix doesn't care about truth. All it cares about is that you make the best argument. And you may know your argument sucks, and you may know it's wrong, but you don't have the cojones. That means courage for you people that are foreign language challenged, okay? You don't have the courage at all to do the right thing. You don't have the courage to admit, I was wrong. You don't have the courage to say, Your Honor, the opposing side is correct. They are correct. And I know they are correct. No, you're not going to do that. So what do? Most of you are going to cave. You're going to sell your soul. Just like when you go to get your first new swanky job and you're just so stoked. I've got a job. I can pay my bills. These people think I'm valuable. I'm going to, wow, I can't wait to start. And then they're going to guide your life. And they're going to tell you to go get it done. And you're going to be like, go get it done? Well, how do I do it? Like, just do what you need to do. I don't need to know the details. You know what that translates into? You become the sacrificial lamb. That's right. Because you're a mercenary, and mercenaries work for the highest bidder. And mercenaries don't care how they get it done or what they do. They don't have a code of ethics they live by. They just have one code. Pay me. Pay me. I'll work for anybody. And that's what lawyers do. We work for anybody. Why do you think you have to do conflict of interest check when people call your firm to consult with you? Well, one, to make sure you haven't already talked to the other side or there isn't some other sort of conflict. But other than that, assuming they have the money to hire you, hell yeah, I'll take it. It's a case in an area of law I do, and they got the cash to pay me. Yep, we're going to go. And no matter what your client does or did, even if you know that they committed the crime or you know that what they did in a civil case they shouldn't have done, yeah, it's your obligation to go defend them. But it's not your obligation to lie for them. And it's not your obligation to live in delusion and deception and lies. It's just like the same thing when people come in, and I don't really care what your stance is on this whole transgender thing. The fact is, men are men and women are women. And just because somebody believes they're a man or believes they're a woman doesn't mean that I or anybody else has to go along and believe that too. No, I don't. I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to believe and live that lie, and I'm not going to do it. And just like you don't have to sit there when your client's in there lying or trying to commit a fraud on the court. You don't have to do that either. See, there just has to come a time when you got to stand up. And you got to say, I'm just not going to be part of this legal matrix. I'm not going to live in lies. I mean, think about this. What if everybody went into the courtroom, lawyers included and the judges and even all the parties, and said, I did it. I did it, Your Honor. I am accountable, and I am responsible for what I did or failed to do, what I said or failed to do, and I did it. Could you imagine what a different world we would live in? But no, see, that's not what we do. In the world today, we try and cover everything up. We pretend. We pose. And in turn, the lawyers create the charade. The charade, the legal mark's what we do. We create the charade that, we're being truthful. We're presenting the facts. But you're always holding something back. And eventually, it creates a cancer. And this cancer will eat at you eventually down the road. It may not in the beginning because you're so excited about this new job and you're working for somebody else. And remember, you're trying to please the boss because what? You want to be one day like them and you want to be a senior partner. But what you don't know is that in their lives, believe it or not, their lives are in a pit. But they can't show that to you. They're too ashamed. They can't be a senior partner and come into work and be vulnerable. But perhaps in their lives, they're going through divorce. Perhaps they have drug or substance abuse addictions, and they just want to get it done. Or maybe they've created such a financial hole that they need the money, and they need you to keep bringing the money. They don't care how you do it. And if you do it unethically and you create a problem, well, then it's your law license, not necessarily theirs. Oh, they may get in some trouble, but you did something, and it's you. It's going to be the fall guy or the fall girl. Why? Because you're a legal mercenary, and you don't have a code of truth that you live by. You live by the almighty dollar. See, this has just become problematic across the world because there's so much greed. People become lovers of themselves, their egos. And remember, when you went to law school, you have to be somewhat of a narcissist. I mean, let's face it. Most lawyers are narcissists. They are. Think of the profession that you're in. You're arguing all the time. You're colliding all the time. You're fighting all the time. You're pontificating your position all the time. And it's win, 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 win at all costs. At all costs. And there'll be a cost, okay? It'll be a cost of paying the likes you never know. Because 30 years down the road, I'm telling you, you're going to wake up and you're going to look in that mirror. And you are. And you are not going to recognize who you are anymore. And you're going to have this epiphany. You're going to have this feeling that there's a disturbance in the force. And there is a disturbance in the force. And that disturbance is that you have not operated in truth during your whole legal career. And you sold out. And then one day, one of those cases, one of those issues is going to come back and bite you. Think about it. Again, these cases where people were convicted of rape or murder, and the prosecution knew they didn't do it. They withheld evidence. And now 30, 40, maybe 50 years has passed, and the convicted are still alive, and now they've proved that they didn't do it. And they proved that the prosecution knew they didn't do it. Now lawsuits are coming. Reputations are ruined, and probably for good reason. Okay? It's going to happen in the civil cases as well, too. People knew something they shouldn't have done, shouldn't have said, withheld the truth. Lives were destroyed, and you as a lawyer were the ones responsible for doing it because you didn't live in truth. It's a horrible, horrible awakening to realize that you live your life in the legal matrix and that you sold your soul because you became a legal merc. You sold yourself. We talk about human trafficking. Let's talk about trafficking in the soul. You sold your soul. It's hard to get it back once you sell it. Some people never do. They say there's a hell on earth. Well, I'm going to tell you there is. When you live in lies, it will bury you. You'll be buried in your lies. And the only thing that's going to save you is truth. That's it. There's no in between here. You either tell the truth or you lie. There's no gray area. Everybody says there's a gray. No. That's something somebody creates like purgatory. I don't believe in purgatory. I don't believe in that crap for 1 minute. Sorry, but I don't. Okay, I'm not sorry. When you die, this is my belief, you're either going to end up in heaven or you're going to end up in hell. That's what I believe. I believe that God exists. I believe that Jesus exists. I believe he says he is, who he was, always will be. I believe that. I truly do. And there's only truth or there's lies. There's no in between. And see, the legal profession, it's the spin master. They create a gray area. You just go there, sit in the area, and you pick and choose kind of what's true, what's not, kind of paint it up a little bit, make it look a little prettier, make that lie look pretty. And then lies become what? Truth. And then the truth, you make them into be lies when you know that what the person said was true. But your ego won't let the truth come out. And that becomes a problem with the judges too. They just want to get off the bench. They want to go out golfing or doing whatever they want to do. A lot of them, in my experience, they're not interested in the truth. They're just there because they want to get that judicial retirement at the state or federal level and work as minimal hours. And yeah, don't get me wrong, there's some good judges. There are. But they're getting outnumbered by judges with agendas, with political party affiliations, and the truth doesn't matter. You're seeing this going on in the United States right now today. You're seeing it go on in the world where people are persecuted for what? For living, operating, and telling the truth. Yeah, that's what's happening. And these Orwellian governments that are really the legal matrix, they don't want the truth. They're mercenaries too. And they're being paid well. They're being funded well. To do what? To be mercenaries, to go out and kill, to destroy, to ruin, to silence people who will live and operate in truth. At the end of the day, only you know whether you're living in truth or not. And you will reach a crossroads. You will. You may be 25, just coming right out of law school, maybe younger. I mean, recently there was one in California, I think 17, 18 years old that took the bar, a prodigy. And maybe he's mature enough to handle the legal matrix. Maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of you out there, you law students and you young lawyers, it's experience that counts. But you don't have to have experience to live and operate in truth. It doesn't require experience. It just requires you to acknowledge what truth is and what lies are and not live in lies. And we all lie. We all have. I have. We don't want to be discovered. We don't want people to know our deepest, darkest secrets. And then we get too afraid to actually stand up for the truth. And we are afraid because everybody else is living in lies too. And then pretty soon, living in lies just becomes normal. It's just the normal thing to do. But it's not normal. It's abnormal. That's why it's called a lie. That's why truth is critical and it's important. Truth in everything. You step on the scale, it's going to tell your weight. And that's a fact. You're either overweight or you're not. You either have money in your bank account or you don't. You either told the truth in the court or you didn't. You're either truthful with yourself or you're not. And so you can try and lie to yourself all day long and think that you're not a legal merc. But until you live and operate in truth, you are. You are. We all are. All the lawyers are. We're legal mercs. Just think if 1.3 million lawyers across the United States stood up one day and said, we're going to acknowledge everything in total truth. We're going to walk into a courtroom and everybody is going to tell the truth about what really happened, what we really said, what we really did. And imagine for a moment, just like on Judgment Day, where God replays all your life, where there's no fancy rules of evidence, there's no hearsay, there's nothing but just total, absolute, raw truth. And you can see it on a screen of what you did after hours in the dark. Imagine for a moment if you went into court and you could actually play your life or your client's life or the witnesses of the events that happened and exactly what was said and brutal, total truth for everybody to see. What a game changer that would be. What a game changer that would be. But instead, the world has sought worldly things. They've sought the lies to cover up their sins. And they don't care about the truth. They only care about the truth if it serves their agenda and their particular purpose. And their purpose may not be a good one. And so you as law students and you as young lawyers, you need to make a decision now, today. If you wait 20 and 30 years, your life is going to be filled with pain and agony. And it's going to be filled with pain and agony because you are going to go to bed at night. And in the back of your head, it's going to haunt you. It will. You will not escape it. You will not escape the divine conviction that comes upon every human being. You won't. I can't stress this enough to you young law students and young lawyers. When you go out there working for these big firms, it's all about making the cash and making the money. And they have to be profitable. It's a business. But you don't have to sell your soul. You don't. Because at the end of the day, it's your soul. It's not theirs unless you sell it. Do you really want to be a legal mercenary? Is that really what you want to do? Is that really what your sole purpose is? When is the legal profession going to finally just stand up and quit being the circus that it is? When is the legal profession going to stop feeding the legal matrix? When are you going to stop feeding the legal matrix? When are you going to quit being brainwashed and institutionalized by the law schools and all their ideology and realize that truth is the key thing? They all talk about it, but what you see going on across the nation, the world today, is they're eradicating it. They don't care. They just don't care. They use the so-called truth as a sword for their agenda, but then they use it as a shield when they themselves live in lies. You have such multi-tiers of justice. And I've always said this, and I'm going to say it again. The judicial system was to be the last reservoir of truth and integrity, to keep everything else in balance and to keep everything in check. And the legal profession has become the legal matrix, and it has become infected with the cancer of lies. But you do not have to be part of the legal matrix. You don't have to let that cancer spread to you. There is a way out of the legal matrix. There is a way out. And you can have that conversation with me, and I can give you the skill sets. I can show you and tell you what you need to do. I am not a life coach. That is not what I'm advocating here. I am not a life coach at all. I'm a guy that has litigated in the legal matrix, in the legal profession for over 30 years. I have now come to the crossroads of realizing and discovering the real truth. And the legal matrix is an animal. It is an animal. It will destroy your domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment if you let it. And you don't have to. Don't be the guy or girl 30 years from now sitting in front of the mirror and you don't even recognize who you are anymore. And that horrible, terrible pain that will come over you, that conviction. Stop now. Look at yourself in the mirror right now and commit to living and operating in truth. And instead of working for somebody else that's going to work you to death for the almighty billable hour, have the courage, be bold, don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and go ahead and open and own and operate and lead your own law firm in total truth. Do it the right way. Do it the right way. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what you do or fail to do. And in the final judgment, there will not be, again, the fancy rules of evidence, hearsay, and all the fancy Latin terms. There will be 100% pure truth. That's it. And many on that day will wish they had lived in total truth. It's sobering, I know. It's a sobering subject. But it needs to be discussed and it needs to be talked about. Don't be a legal mercenary. Don't be a legal merc. Just be the person that lives in truth, operates in truth, and lives by a code of truth. The truth will make you free. It will. You may think it won't, but it will. All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer. So that's been another session of Escape the Legal Matrix, a lawyer's journey and way to break the chains and the bonds of the legal matrix. I wish you love and light wherever you may be today, tonight, tomorrow, whatever time zone you're in. Just remember, are you living in truth? Don't be a legal work. Be something different. Don't be just a good lawyer. Be a great lawyer. Don't be just a good law student. Be a great law student. Okay? You got some things to think about. It's a serious topic. It's sobering, I know, but it's something you got to do. This is Bryce and we are out of